Get in, nerds. We're playing Victoria 3. We've just had an election pop, and now we've got a Land of Plenty event, so I'm going to get to those. But I'm going to get to that first in a second after I've looked at the government. We're totally illegitimate. And the reason is because it appears that the Church of Sweden has formed into a moderate Venstre as a party. The Labour Party now consists of the intelligentsia, who have broken off from the Communist Party, and now the trade unions want to join the armed forces to form a proper Communist Party. If I eject the trade unions from the government now, I'll still have an illegitimate government, so I'm just going to not worry about it. Yeah, we're going to wait till the election. So, a land of plenty. The country's high standard of living has resulted in a widespread sense of contentment with the status quo, favoring Peter Bjornsson and the sitting Radical People's Party in the ongoing elections. Change? Why would I want change? I've got a full belly, a happy wife, and a good job. Why would I squander that chasing what might be? If it's not broken, why fix it? This will give us some extra momentum to the Radical People's Party, or laud Peter Bjornsson's achievements. I'm going to do this. I don't necessarily want the Radical People's Party, which is the petite bourgeoisie's party, to be stronger. So we'll just kind of let that be until the election. Again, it's not that big of a deal if our government is illegitimate in the lead up to an election. It's only for half a year, and they'll kind of sort themselves out once the election's complete. So let's take a look at the business. It looks like the free-minded Venstre is still kind of the lowest momentum. The Communist Party's got slightly higher momentum. Labour Party's way down in momentum compared to before. Radical People's Party momentum is going up. Interesting. Very interesting. So if I had the Communist Party in power now, that would be the armed forces and the trade unions. That wouldn't be too bad. But would it put... Is this guy my... No, okay. We lost that other dork who's reducing the standard of living. We also might have Jorgensen in power. He only has direct and traditionalist commander. Neither of which are bad. Definitely don't... Is the modern Venstre even being tracked on here? Oh, they are. They are, and they have quite a bit of momentum. That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that would happen. But it is happening. It is M. Night Shyamalan's happening. So right now, our plan to stay productive is once these get going, once these get built, we're going to switch one of our urban centers over to electric lighting, and that's going to help out with stuff. I got access to the Japanese market and didn't even look at it. So, this is a good market to sell luxury clothes and furniture to. Good market to sell iron to, frankly. There's a lot of things Japan needs. Okay, cool. Including fertilizer. So, productive fertilizer route. Productive iron route, or it will be a productive iron route. Luxury clothes. Productive route, luxury furniture. I just said the wrong one for both of those. That's okay. And did I already do fertilizer? Yes, I did. Cool. They want to elect their own bureaucrats, and there's stuff going on all over the world right now. It appears that Württemberg, not Baden, is suffering a proletarian revolt. Excuse me? Oh, because... What? What's happening here? Baden is a dominion of Württemberg. That's why Baden's revolt affects Württemberg. That's wild. I just started trading with Japan, and now they've got the peasant revolt. That's wild. Oh, what a neat flag. Oh, that's fun. I'm kind of rooting for the Japanese peasant revolt just on account of what a great time. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about that right now because I'm Sweden and we're chill. The Golden Mean. Members of the Labour Party have drawn attention to the rise of the Communist Party, expressing their willingness to offer a more moderate solution to their political extremism. Have you heard of that dangerous Communist Party? I've been told that their members meet at night, plotting their next terrorist attack and eat babies. Babies! And thank God that they do. Extra momentum for the Communist Party. Sounds a bit far-fetched, but the Labour Party is still the sensible option. Labour Party is currently the intelligentsia. I don't mind them. Communist Party is the trade unions, the armed forces. I don't mind them either. So I'm kind of neutral on this. Labour Party is baseline a lot stronger. But again, I don't know how it's going to shake out in the election. So I think we're going to go with... We still haven't started to see communist revolutions around the world yet. Which should be happening, getting started pretty soon. I'm still gonna go with the Labour Party on this, and we'll see. Well, hopefully that won't create a problem later. So that's gonna make the Labour Party slightly stronger. Communist Party is still pretty short on votes. And I'm wondering if that's just an artifact of the way this is calculating it because it doesn't think that the trade unions are in that party yet. Wonderful. So. The Radical People's Party is still holding it. What if we pull in the communists? I'm going to try this. Okay, it's still unacceptable. But now they're calculated correctly. Again, I don't necessarily want the moderate Venstre in here. The Radical People's Party right now, except for the whole feminism thing, are kind of a liability. What will this do? This will give a big old bonus to enactment time and taking radicalism, which I don't want. So, unfortunately, the communists are going to have to go. However, with that having been said, who's going to oppose women having the vote? Pretty much everyone, but no one who's both strong and angry. So let's do it. They want elected bureaucrats. Elected bureaucrats would make the petite bourgeoisie a lot stronger, but they're only kind of progressive right now. In actual kind of fact, the petite bourgeoisie are kind of a reactionary faction, reactionary interest group. So I don't necessarily want to hand them a ton of power. I haven't built any power plants yet. No, I have not. All right. Lovely. Just making sure. Just keeping track of this so that I can make that switch over that I want to make as soon as it basically can happen. So these two power plants will be producing 100 power right now. So I think we're going to go... Wow, Svealand is a huge... It's going to cost way too much. There's Wargaming. So we'll flip over the one in Zealand. Very good. And that will help those power plants get motivated to get going. Next round in 7 weeks. So worry about that at that point. We unlocked the new military method. I don't think that's how much that's going to cost. I think you're making that up, game. Just to check our market again. That's going to make artillery very, very expensive, but that's going to make our arms industries more productive, which is going to drive the price down. As you can see, that has just happened. Happily for us. Four more weeks. I think of that, so this will be 200 additional power, and I think at that point we'll bite the bullet and have our main urban center in Svealand go to electric. Go to electric power plants. It's still very expensive. Okay, alright. Yeah, they're just taking time getting fully employed. Again, hopefully this is going to drop our amount of our coal needs significantly, and that's going to reduce the price of coal. What I'm hoping doesn't happen is it reduces the amount that comes in via these trade routes. We're at 6.66 right now, so I'm hoping that won't create a problem. Alright, we just got the new power plants online, so let's go ahead and swap that over. Again, all this is kind of, these are kind of funny, but they are kind of what they are. You can't really control the number of urban centers in the country because those are built in an automated fashion. Cool. Women's suffrage is advanced. We're at 49, or about 50-50 even split on advance and success. Once again, advance increases the enactment chance, success moves to the next stage. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. We don't have an opposing movement on the docket yet. We have lovely Art Nouveau. The spread of a new artistic style inspired by nature, imitating the sinuous curves of plants through robust iron and glass to convey the contradictions of progress, has reached Stockholm's higher spheres. Well, you know, I just painted on. I went on without design or sketch. It grew as I painted, and toward the end I reached the point of such perfection, putting every touch with such freedom, that when I came round to the corner where I started, why, I had to paint part of it over again, as the difference would have been too marked, and the harmony of blue and gold developing, you know, I forgot everything in my joy in it. The new style is truly mesmerizing. Danish becomes obsessed with fine art. That's fun. And then Art Nouveau fascination, 20% Arts Academy throughput. And they paint without a design. Well, it shows. It makes our academics and aristocrats big mad. All right, we'll do it. We'll do it. That's really fun. We're in a credit situation now, so I've got to be a little bit careful with my finances, but I'm not too worried about it. The power market is still basically good. We've reduced the number of buy orders for coal without reducing the total number of sell orders, which is also very good. I'm pleased with this outcome. Are we still increasing power output? We are, by a little. Let's look at engines. Engines are fairly affordable. And the reason it matters is because engines are basically the only input to power plants when the power plants are using the hydropower method, which they all start out as doing. So that's why I'm paying attention to that. So that should make our arts academies much more productive. And indeed, it appears to have done. Wonderful. The rabies vaccine. For the first time, a Scandinavian laboratory has concluded human trials of a practical rabies vaccine created from dried infected rabbit. Do you mind not screaming? I'm trying to read this event to my viewers. Okay, thank you, please. I know your leg's being sawn off. I'm not sure why that's happening in the context of vaccines, but it's what's happening. To ensure success, a daily administration of immunizations for a period of 14 to 21 days near the end of the working period is to be carried out beginning as quickly as possible following exposure to the afflicted animal. So it was created using dried infected rabbit tissue. Humanity earns another triumph over pestilence This just gives us a flat minus 2% mortality for 19 years. Radical. Excellent. This should be very good. Getting to the end of another tick. Moving towards women's suffrage, hoping that's a success. It won't be a tragedy if it's an advance, but every advance is a non-success right now. Grassroots support for law. The political wills and desires of the lower classes will always remain an opaque matter. For whatever reason, support for women's... Tech tree? Relax. For whatever reason, support for women's suffrage has spread like wildfire across Scandinavia, spurred on by charismatic speakers and lively debates in small-time social clubs. They're backing what now? Well, who are we to complain? While their support was never a prerequisite for success, it sure doesn't hurt to have it either. Public enthusiasm expedites reform. That makes the petite bourgeoisie stronger. Interesting. Use this common ground to calm the masses. You get a bunch of loyalists in Norland. I'm going to do that. I like loyalists. And then we got elevators. This is not going to seem like it affects a whole lot of stuff. And truthfully, I don't think it's gone. Amazing. Okay, apparently those pop-ups have a limited amount of time they last. Let me just drop the speed and I'll go to the tech tree and show you what elevators does. So this gives us extra infrastructure per population, which is good, because it's going to reduce my need for railways, and that's very good. It also gives us maximum infrastructure from population. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Maximum level for construction sector doesn't matter a whole lot, and land trade capacity doesn't affect me a whole lot because I got huge naval trade capacity. Anyway, the Stockholm Metro. A new network of underground train stations has been inaugurated in Stockholm, providing iconic and cheap transportation within city limits to commuters. The streets were so much more civilized these days, he thought, as he made his way to the metro station. Whereas once they'd been flooded by the dreary march of multitudes shuffling to and from work, now those unsightly herds had been corralled underground, pressed into their tubes, hurtling through the tunnels. And what was progress, if not speeding through the dark? Another step towards the city of tomorrow, 10% urban center throughput. I don't love that. A new symbol of our nation's progress, extra prestige. Definitely want that. Cool, where are we in the prestige ladder? We're still kind of gaining on Austria, although some of that's not permanent prestige. Our GDP is still about 2/3 of theirs. Our standard of living is way, way higher. Again, my plan of largely benefiting from immigration in this run does not appear to have been panning out very much. So I'm a little disappointed in that. We also seem to have reduced our coal imports, which is unfortunate. Dancing on wheels. A roller skating rink has opened in Stockholm, presenting a new, exciting form of entertainment for the urban classes. A craze? Yes, of course it is. Where else could you see a millionaire in diamonds and silk fall on his bottom, laugh like a madman, and then do it all again? A spot of well-earned whimsy? Urban center employee standard of living, that's interesting. Or an easy way to forget one's demons? Loyalists among the middle strata pops in Svealand. I like that one. I like loyalists. I like loyalists very much. Still doing pretty well with the whole loyalist thing. Frankly, half our country's loyalists. You'd think that with so many people in Sweden being just delighted, in Scandinavia being just delighted to be in Scandinavia, that we would get more people moving to Scandinavia, but that's not my business. I think it might be... I'm thinking about how I've got military wages on maximum, but the armed forces are truly very happy, so I might drop these back to middle. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. We're still experiencing... See, this convoy thing, I'm having a real hard time understanding this. Popular playwright endorses reform. You've seen this before, I'm sure. I can get some enactment chance bonuses, or I can get some extra prestige. And I'm definitely going for the prestige. because I sure do like having high prestige. We seem to have fallen back down. I think one of our 5-year prestige bonuses fell off. But anyway, that's not a problem. I think we had another round of power plants come into production. So let's flip some more of these urban centers over to electric lighting. That's going to keep the electricity demand high. We're experiencing an increase in lead buy orders for our glassworks, which is interesting. We haven't done a lot of new lead mining. I'm just checking to make sure this buy orders number keeps going up and how it affects the sell orders number. Okay, so the sell orders number and buy orders number are basically constant. Right now, I think I'm going to do one. How many do we have close to coming into operation? 5 weeks. Trade agreement with Great Britain? Heck yes. Yep. So those buy orders are going up. I think I'm going to grab another small urban center and increase it. One in Iceland as well. The Stockholm Botanical Gardens. The zoo in Svealand has begun to expand its exhibits with a surge in Scandinavian prosperity and leisure time. From my private collection, I am well capable of lending to you a most excellent specimen of a lion, captured as a cub from a hunt in Africa. I happen to know for quite some time a collector and breeder of exotic birds which possesses in his private menagerie a magnificent parakeet. The curator sat back and regarded his sponsors before him. Sirs, all I require from you is, and we have a bunch of different options. The majestic lion, symbol of strength the world over. This gives us 25 prestige and makes our petite bourgeoisie happy. The bold rooster, enduring symbol of the French nation, increases relations with France. The noble tiger from the hills of British India increases relations with Great Britain by 10. The resilient brown bear from the Russian taigas increases relations with Russia by 10. Or the roaring golden eagle from the heights of the Spanish Pyrenees. Soaring golden eagle, rather, maybe. So that improves relations with Spain. I think my relations with other countries are excellent, so I'm just going to go with the extra prestige. That's fun. These are interesting events. The British and French are in a war, or potentially going to be in a war. Do we have... I don't actually have a defensive pact with France, which I thought I might have. So France wants Great Britain to transfer a bunch of smaller states in Africa, 2 smaller states in Africa, Hamburg and Mysore, which is in India. Hamburg is in Germany. I want to offer us an obligation. Truthfully, I don't desire that. Great Britain wants to conquer Selangor. Selangor is where? It's a small state in Southeast Asia. I don't know, man. This seems... I don't think Scandinavia needs to get involved in this. I think if they want to shoot at each other, that's their business. But I am not concerned with that. Let's take a look at the tech tree. We've got 9 months till concrete dockyards. But I think there are definitely ways we can get more productive. Way number 1. Electrical capacitors adds a new automation method for textile mills and a new production method for textile mills. So that's very tempting. Conveyors is also very tempting. This works for most of our places. It costs oil, which will be useful for our... I abandoned the thing I was working on, which will be productive for our whaling industries. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Electrical capacitors is also going to go on the list. What about combustion engine? This gives us automobile production for motor industries, which is generally quite good. Although we don't have a lot of pops that are wealthy enough to be able to afford cars. But, well, actually, let me take a look at it. The wealthy certainly could. How big is this stratum? 341k pops. That's not bad. That's a lot of cars. We could probably make use of that. So I'm going to queue up combustion engine as well. Telephone is a nice one. It leads to radio, which is generally quite productive. Automatic bottle blowers. All this method costs is tools, right? Tools and oil. We'll be able to produce both of those things. So I'm actually going to DQ these. We get automatic bottle blowers first, then conveyors, then combustion engine. And then... No, then electrical capacitors, then combustion engine. Alright, so, Discord within the industrialists. You've seen this event before. This gives us extra enactment chance, or it gives us less enactment chance, makes the petite bourgeoisie stronger, makes the industrialists weaker. This is always basically structured so that it's either a group that... with this version of the event, when it's chaos in Discord within a group that supports the bill, it'll be, or within a group that's against the bill. This is always the way it's structured, and the other side is a group that supports it. And I think at this point we've also seen the event that's going the other way, where you can say splitters, may the devil take them, or you can loosen the purse strings. In either case, let's go with this one, and we'll get the... We will strengthen the petite bourgeoisie. So, with that moving along, I think we're at... Where are we with these power plants? 18 power plants. So at this point, I'm going to move some of our biggest urban centers over to the new method. And that's going to keep electricity quite expensive. And once the whole situation... Once this round of construction gets completed, I'll be able to really take a rest on construction. A thing I keep saying I'm going to do, but never seem to really do. Which is kind of part and parcel to having a high construction capacity. Did the British and French end up fighting? It looks like they did. It looks like they did. So there's battles happening down here. Are there battles happening in Africa? Not sure. This is actually not much colonization for this late in the game. I'm really surprised. My impression is that the British and French tend to kind of race to colonize all this stuff, but it doesn't seem like they've been very aggressive in Africa, which is surprising. Wonderful. We've gotten to study. 2 more successes, and women will be able to vote. Synthetics plants, yep. I'm just looking at Cuba. It would be nice to have Cuba in our customs union. Not that I'm, like, overly eager to pull them in, but it would be nice. I don't have an interest in the Caribbean, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and have that interest. We'll be very interested in the Caribbean. Prussia's failure to launch in this run has had really interesting implications for Europe. I'm not really sure how it's happened, but they've really not... Usually by this point, they've gotten at least part of the way to forming Germany. Let me see. Saxe-Meiningen is having a communist rebellion. Oh, there's communist rebellions. There's a couple of communist rebellions in Europe. Oh boy, another event. New money. Those members of Scandinavian society who have been made wealthy by the recent boom in technological progress have begun establishing fashions of their own, attending more and more extravagant high society functions and exclusive restaurants decorated in the style of Art Nouveau. She's got an indiscreet voice, I remarked. It's full of... I hesitated. Her voice is full of money, he said suddenly. That was it. I'd never understood before. It was full of money. That was the inexhaustible charm that rose and fell in it, the jingle of it, the cymbals song of it. The cymbal song of it. I think that's a quote from The Great Gatsby. A new world, material without being real. 2 standard of living for the upper stratum, 2 minimum expected standard of living for the upper stratum. Radical. Very pleased. So, the petite bourgeoisie, who's in this party? Where's the breakdown of supporters? I know there's a way to get it somewhere. It's not here. I mean, I know those are the factors, but... is it in the populations? Charts? I know there's somewhere there's a way to get... there's a way to get, like, supporters by interest group. This is so unusual. I forget. I feel like I've seen this before, but I don't think it's through having to go through one by one. But anyway, let's go through one by one. Capitalists mostly not supporting the petite bourgeoisie. Engineers, yeah, getting a big chunk from engineers. Okay, a big chunk from machinists. Interesting. Big chunk from laborers. That's unusual. Clerks, obviously, a lot of them in the petite bourgeoisie. Excellent. Progress towards women's suffrage. Bureaucrats. Good chunk of them. Academics. Big chunk of them. Interesting. Clergymen. Shopkeepers. Obviously, huge numbers of shopkeepers in the petite bourgeoisie. Aristocrats, not at all. Farmers, not at all. Servicemen, not at all. Officers, not at all. Peasants, not at all. Okay. Neat. It's curious. I was planning on stopping at the end of 97, but we seem to have dipped into the beginning of... of 87, but we seem to have dipped into the beginning of 88. So we'll just go ahead and go to the middle of 88. And hopefully that'll get us to the completion of women's suffrage, and that'll be nice. I'm also really excited to see how concrete dockyards changes our whole convoy situation, and hopefully means that we'll have an excess that we'll never need to worry about again. I would be absolutely delighted by that. And that's going to pop in about a month and a quarter, which will be nice. We're also finishing out our last round of electrical power plants, so I'm going to get a few more of these urban centers switched over to the electric streetlights. I think I might need to get combustion engine just so that I can get public motor carriages for these urban centers. I think that might mean making that a better priority. But I still want to get automatic bottle blowers first. So let's go ahead and queue those in after the combustion engine. So we'll do conveyors, then we'll do electrical capacitors. I've been building a ton of buildings. I'm just going to switch these over so that I don't forget. I'll just do it fully. We'll do it live. Live and full. Oh, this is only a little bit more steel and glass. Here we are. Concrete dockyards. So, switch all these over to modern ports. It's going to cost us 348 oil. What does that do to oil in our market? It makes it we at capacity for oil production? We're producing 360 oils. That should give us the capacity to produce enough. Okay, we're getting there. Alright. So those buildings just need to take some time to get productive. But, see, this is... I really don't understand. Maybe they just rebalanced the industrial port to modern port building. Yeah, they changed it a lot. It reduces the number of employees by a lot. But it doesn't... Or at least I think it does. Suffrage rally. Rallies in support of women's suffrage law have been taking place around the country, but some of them have been turning violent. Of course, 95% of the protesters are peaceful, but all it takes is one radical element to set things off, and before you know it, the whole mob have whipped up into a frenzy. Scale back the rallies. Next reenactment chance, we will risk a little violence. Oh man, let's scale back the rallies. We don't want a repeat of the pencil wars from the 40s. So, our financial situation from the government perspective is improving steadily. Yeah, I think I just overestimated the size of the change going from this. So as you can see, this produces 12,000 convoys, and this only produces 1,380. So our actual total amount of convoys only increased by about 1,800. So that was really not doing what I thought it was going to do as much as I had hoped. So with that being the case, I'm going to produce a few more of them. Not too many too soon. Looks like I do have a certain amount of available labor, especially in Schleswig-Holstein. So we'll go ahead and build there as well. We'll get those done. But it looks like we're not going to be able to complete women's suffrage before the end of the session, but hopefully we'll get it next time. So, in the meantime, though, my friends, I have had fun. I hope you've had fun. I'll see you all on the other side.